So today we're going to work on 9.2, and here we have an equation that says the absolute value of v is 3. So remember, absolute values are distance from 0. So if I take the absolute value of 4, it wants to know what number is 4 units from 0, and the answer is 4. If I had the absolute value of -5, so how far away is -5 from 0? It is 5. But if I turn this into an equation with a variable in it, it's saying if I have a number line, what number v is 3 units from 0? So obviously 3 is 3 units from 0, but is there another answer? -3 is also 3 units from 0. So how do we solve this algebraically? Well, all you have to do is split this into v is either equal to 3 or v is equal to -3. And that seems kind of silly, but they do get more difficult. That one's a little more complicated. Let's do an easy one. So now it wants to know what unit, what number, -16 will give us -6. The absolute value of what number, -16, is -6? Well, if I had the absolute value of u equal -2, what number is -2 units away from 0? And there isn't one, right? Distance is always positive, so the absolute value of u cannot be -2. So this has no solution. And this is saying the absolute value of u -16 is equal to -6. Can that happen? Well, I know that this number is positive. So can a positive number -16 equal -6? Yes. We want to do that split that we did last time, but we can't do the split until we get rid of everything except this. So the first step here would be to add 16, and then I get the absolute value of u is equal to 10, and then I split it, u is equal to 10, or u is equal to -10. Let's do another one. So we have to isolate the absolute value by adding 15. The absolute value of x is equal to 5. Split the x into x equals 5 and x equals -5. So those two numbers, the distance from those two numbers to 0, -15, is equal to -10. But if I had the absolute value of x minus 2 is equal to, let's say plus 2, is equal to 1, when I move that 2 over, I get the absolute value of x is equal to -1, and that can't happen. There is no number that is -1 units away from 0. So that would be no solution. Okay. So here we have the absolute value of 4v minus 2 is equal to 6. This is already by itself. I don't need to get rid of anything, which means I can split it into 4v minus 2 is equal to 6, and 4v minus 2 is equal to -6. And then I solve each of those, add 2, 4v equals 8, divide by 2, v is equal to 2, add 2, 4v equals -4, divide by 4, and I get -1. So v is equal to either 2 or negative 1. And if we look at that on the number line, so negative 1, if we start here, so negative 1 times 4 is negative 4, minus 2, so we move down 2, is that number 6 units away from 0? Yes. Okay, let's try let's try positive 2. So we start at positive 2, times it by 4, right there, and then subtract 2. Is that number, right here, 6 units away from 0? Yes, it is. Okay, let's do another one of those. The absolute value is already on its own, so we split. 3v plus 12 equals 9, and 3v plus 12 equals negative 9. So we subtract 12. 3v equals negative 3, so v is negative 1. Subtract 12. 3v equals 21, negative 21, divide by 3, and we get negative 7. Those are my two answers. Okay. All right. So here, I need to get the absolute value all by itself. I want to isolate this. So that is held to the negative 5 using multiplication. So we divide by negative 5. And we get the absolute value of w plus 6 is 11. Now we split. W plus 6 equals 11. And w plus 6 equals negative 11. Subtract 6. W equals 5. Subtract 6. W equals negative 17. We'll do one more of those. Here we need to divide by negative 8. And we get the absolute value of w plus 5 equals 7. Split. W plus 5 is 7, and w plus 5 is negative 7. Subtract the 5, we get w equals 2. Subtract the 5, and we get w equals negative 12. Okay. Do you need any more of those? Okay, this one looks kind of tough. Can an absolute value equal an absolute value? As long as the stuff in the middle is the same distance from 0. So we know either 3w minus 6 is equal to 3w minus 3, or we also know that 3w minus 6 could equal the opposite of 3w minus 3. Right? If the inside of this one is positive and the inside of this one is positive, and they're the same number, then they're equal. But if the inside of one is positive and the inside of the other is negative, as long as it's the same distance from 0, it will still work. So what this is saying is, if we had absolute value of 5 equals 5, that would totally be fine. But if I had the absolute value of negative 5 equaled the absolute value of 5, that would also be fine. So we set them together as either equal or equal to the opposite. So here I subtract 3w, and I get negative 6 equals negative 3. When does negative 6 equal negative 3? Never. So this one breaks. That has no solution. But on the other side, if I distribute the negative, we have 3w minus 6 equals negative 3w plus 3. So we add 3w, 6w, add the 6 to the other side, equals 9. Divide by 6, and I get w equals 9 over 6, which is 3 over 2. Do you want to see another one of those? Yeah? So either 2u plus 9 equals 2u plus 2, or 2u plus 9 is equal to the opposite of 2u plus 2. Now this first one, can we take something that is equal to something and add different values to it and have it be equal? No. There is no way for 2u plus 9 to be equal to 2u plus 2, because these are the same and these are different, so this one breaks. If I were to subtract 2u, I would get 9 equals 2, which is impossible. So on the other side, we distribute the negative. 2u plus 9 equals negative 2u minus 2. So we add 2u and subtract 9. And I get 4u equals negative 11. So u is negative 11 over 4. So what if we tried that? So let's plug this in and see what happens. So 2 times negative 11 over 4 plus 9 is equal to 2 times negative 11 over 4 plus 2. So this cancels that, and I get negative 11 over 2 plus 9 is equal to, this cancels that. I get negative 11 over 2 plus 2. So this would be 18 over 2, and this would be 4 over 2. Negative 11 plus 18 would be 7 over 2. Is the absolute value of that equal to negative 11 plus 4 is negative 7 over 2. Are those equal? Yes, they are. All right, here, same idea. We just need to make sure that the absolute value is all by itself before we split. So I need to add 28. And we get the absolute value of 2x plus 6 is equal to 20. Now we split. 2x plus 6 equals 20, or 2x plus 6 equals negative 20. So we subtract 6, 2x equals 14, divide by 2, x would be 7, subtract 6, 2x equals negative 26, divide by 2, and I get negative 13. So when solving absolute values, the general rule is get the absolute value by itself. Once it is, then split it into a positive version and a negative version, and then solve. That's it. Get to work.